Hi everybody, this is the Comic Book Cut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion. Your host, the HUD, and welcome back to the Comic Book Cut, and hopefully you like this video. And hit that subscribe button. As you know, this not really, I don't look at it as a controversy. To be honest with you, it's just things going back to normal. And that is this American Eagle ad that has a spokeswoman is Sydney Sweeney. Very beautiful, very attractive young lady. And the left has gone crazy about it because they want to bring in all these freaks and all these people that aren't women doing these ads and really just making everybody disgusted and grossed out. And but MSNBC put it out a column, I guess, on their site. It's just complete total insanity. They're trying everything they can to attack this young lady, and this is going to continue. So if you like these kind of videos and Sydney Sweeney, then you need to hit the subscribe button. And of course, we'll get into this right now. This is from Outkick. MSNBC column laments Sydney Sweeney American Eagle ad celebrating quote-unquote whiteness. Yes, the MSNBC column actually says that. Well, this is just craziness. Insane. Who would have thought that Sydney Sweeney thrown on a white tank top and a pair of jeans for an American Eagle advertisement would cause such a problem for the left-wing icons? Can you think of a better example if there's nothing to actually complain about, make something up than this? And that's what they've done. As Outkick has documented, the left-wingers have lost their minds since Sweeney appeared in a 30-second spot for American Eagle. To be perfectly honest, I wasn't aware that American Eagle still existed. It was a big part of my teenage years as a writer. Not for me personally, since I'm more of a gym shorts and t-shirt kind of guy, but I rarely go into malls at this point. Well, it still exists. And stirred up a controversy by using a fairly innocuous pun. The tagline of the ad is that Sydney Sweeney has good genes. Get it? You see jeans, G-E-J-E-A-N-S, and G-E-N-E-S as homophones. It's a play on words, according to Good Morning America and several other radical lefties. This represents Nazi symbolism. I'm not even joking about it. It's crazy. MSNBC, arguably the most radical left-wing news outlet in the United States, was not about to be outdone by the other legacy media outlets. The website posted a column that was featured on the homepage titled, Sydney Sweeney's ad shows an unbridled cultural shift toward whiteness. Talk about a headline, huh? Crazy. The subheadline reads, advertisements are always mirrors of society, and sometimes what they reflect is ugly and startling. You got that? Sydney Sweeney rocking a pair of jeans and a tank top representing something ugly and startling about U.S. society. My goodness, just when you think these people can't get any worse, they do. Now, I would point something out. If you watch an ad these days, folks, any kind of ad on just regular TV, and it doesn't matter what the ad, or even cable TV, any ad you see, you never see any more white couples on there. You'll get a black guy with a white woman. You'll get and it doesn't matter what the hair color the white woman is. You'll find a black guy, maybe sort of like a light-skinned Hispanic woman. You'll never see a white couple together. If you see a white guy there, he usually has like a ruffled beard. He usually doesn't know what's going on. And his woman is either Asian or they're a light-skinned black woman. And this is not a racial thing, it's just an observation on my part. Whenever they show any white guys, this white men on TV, they don't know what they're doing. They're completely befuddled, they're completely confused. And they have to have the Asian woman or and the woman's not even like really dark, just a light-skinned black woman. It's very strange. And you see this time and time again. And once I've mentioned this in this video, you'll never be able to unsee it. Never be able to unsee it. And very rarely do you see white men without a beard. Without a beard. It's the weirdest thing. It's crazy. The article continues. The column starts by explaining that the ad in a way that only MSNBC columnists could. Sweeney, who's 27, is featured doing all sorts of Americana things in her American Eagle denim, like leaning over the hood of a white Mustang or lying on the floor holding a long-haired German Shepherd puppy. We'd have ways of making you think of Nazi Germany. The opening paragraph reads in part, how dare they feature Americana in an ad for a company called American Eagle? Those bastards. Quote, the backlash has been swift and fierce, and some of it, at least, if you ask me, is fair. Then it has been quick to condemn the advertisements non-inclusive at best and as overtly promoting white supremacy and Nazi propaganda at worst. These critics point to the copy and the implication of calling a white person superior because of their genes. In the video, Sweeney exudes a sort of vintage sexiness that caters to the male gaze. She embodies the near-mythological girl next door beautiful, but low-maintenance sexy femininity that dominated media in the 90s and the early 2000s. Together, the campaign feels regressive and non-retro, offensive and not cheeky. The column continues. Now, the hell wants to see one of these goofball men on a car? No one wants to see that. We mentioned Jaguar. The CEO resigned, by the way. We're having to bring out all these goofballs from hell that they have representing their company. What a paragraph, huh? Let's take it down piece by piece. First, the author says the quiet part out loud when some lady named Hannah Holland, who's probably really fun at parties, says non-inclusive. What she really means is white. You see, inclusion, it's a fancy way of saying not white. It's kind of like when liberals say reproductive rights. And if you and would mention this too. If you see a man that is white on TV and he doesn't have a beard, he's gay. That's the other alternative. So if you're a white man, you see things on TV, they don't want you buying their product. So if you don't have a beard, they don't want you. And if you're gay, they don't want you either. That's what they're telling you. What she really means is white. You see, inclusion is a fancy way of saying not white. It's kind of like when liberals say reproductive rights when they mean abortion or gender-affirming care, when they mean sterilization and mutilation. Exactly. We've already addressed the nonsense of white supremacy, Nazi propaganda. Where's your papers? So no need to go over that again. The rest of the paragraph is what one might expect from a far-left columnist, so we can keep moving. I like to focus on the final sentence. Campaign feels regressive and not retro, offensive and not cheeky. Putting a beautiful woman in an advertisement is suddenly regressive. It's also somewhat hilarious that the author harkens back to the days of the 90s and early 2000s. Does she mean when the United States was at its peak? When race relations were the best in society's history? That's the time Holland views as one we should leave in the past, huh? Well, it is. Remember, with these liberals, the history begins when they're born and when they pay attention to stuff, and then they get all screwed up. In addition, calling the ad offensive is quite the phrasing. An ad that's offensive. How about the one from Gillette that said 2 young boys wrestling on a lawn represented toxic masculinity? Found that advertisement pretty offensive. But my guess is that Holland loved that one. Still, I didn't write a column about it. Why? Because who cares? It was a dumb ad with a dumb message. Quote, the advertisement, the choice of Sweeney as the sole face in it, and the internet's reaction reflect an unbridled cultural shift toward whiteness, conservatism, and capitalist exploitation. Sweeney's both a symptom and a participant, the column states. Yes, here we go. While the author leaned towards the other people's opinions early in the column, views she almost certainly shares, in this paragraph, we get to the crux of the radical left-wing ideology. Whiteness, conservatism, capitalism are bad, which can only mean, of course, that non-whiteness, liberalism, and socialism or perhaps communism are good. Framing society this way as good versus evil is a classic left-wing tactic. It allows those on that side to frame themselves as the morally righteous side. They are good, everyone else is evil. Of the many hilarious aspects of this column, I find this one particularly funny. I don't claim to be an expert on Hannah Holland's background, since I just learned of her existence today. She certainly appears to be white. Not that it matters, it's just worth noting. I wonder if she wakes up every day angry at herself. She certainly appears to be angry at the world, but according to her own worldview, she should be really upset with herself in this way. The writer says, I feel somewhat sorry for her. The poor girl's having a tortured existence as one of those evil white people she despises so much. That's the one thing. You see this self-loathing of people's existence. You see this sort of rejection. This goes across the board with the left. The rejection of God's perfection. The idea that if God has made you a certain way, don't question it. But that's the problem with the left. They question everything God has created. It's more about this war against God than anything else. And that's what communism is, and what globalism is, and all this other nonsense. It's all about a rejection of God. And when you understand that, then it makes a lot more sense at the end of the day. Well, you let me know what you think about this video. And, of course, please subscribe to the Comic Book Hut. I'll see you later.